And we are live. How's everybody? I'll try and keep it down today. Apparently I'm a bit loud for the neighbours. So I've got to try and get through this without getting too overexcited, as I normally do. So how's everyone today? There's Vassian, ahoy ahoy. John Davis, hello there. So today I'm going to do something a little different. I see everyone doing reviews and things like that, and I thought, well, I don't need to do a review. There's a lot of people that want to know how I feel about the film, and I'm on the fence. It's only because it's a blessing and a curse, but I spot a lot of things that are either inconsistent in films or continuity or plausibility, and it's just one of them things that I hate about me. I can never really fully enjoy a movie. If I spot something, it kind of stays with me, and it kind of like hurts me inside a bit. John Davis, tell us how you feel. 1,500 words or less. Double it and double it again, as Kabal would say. Overall, I did enjoy the movie. I did enjoy it. The overall quality of like how it looks was top notch. So it's like there was nothing cheap about it as far as I noticed. You know, the CGI was really good. The fire, the ice, Kabal's speed. You know, you could see how, the trails. Melina, when she was teleporting, it was all that, Kano's laser. It was all fine. All the CGI was fine. Goro was fine. It looked a bit too smooth for me, too shiny. I reckon they should have gone with a bit more grit to the shine, but that's just me. I reckon they should have done a more battle-hardened Goro, like scars everywhere. You know, make him look like he's been through the wars, but he's always come out on top. But we'll get into the Goro thing later on. Vassi says, I'll go tweet this out. Thank you very much. So, yeah, overall, the movie, I did put it as a 6.5 out of 10, but only because some of the things kind of didn't sit well with me. There were some things that could have been just extended by a few more seconds, or they could have added a few more scenes that could have got us to like the Cole Young character just that little bit more. Let us get behind him a little bit more. But I'll get into that as well. John Davis says, did you get knocked for a loop when they said the young girl was Cole's daughter? I totally thought it was a brother, little sister. I kind of like thought that it could be that, but then, you know, the so-called leaks were true, that it was his daughter. So I was coming around to the fact that he was a completely new character. I was still holding out that he could have been Kenshi, because Kenshi he's that type of character with a history that's not fully explored and could have been twisted to fit. But I mean, I was on board with him, a new character being on, you know, I come around to it, and I was fully on board with a new character being introduced. It was slightly underwhelming. But yeah, the Louis Tan's acting, I hear a lot of people saying how weak it was and everything else, and I can see from that perspective of an acting perspective. But I'm kind of trying to look at it from an in-world perspective, and you've got this guy who's trying to provide for his family through any means necessary. Life's a bit boring. And all of a sudden, this whole thing has just been thrust upon him, and he's lost. He doesn't know what to believe, and he's kind of like shocked all the way, like nearly all the way through. But everything's just this. It's like a new world it's been thrust into, and you kind of would be like wide-eyed about it, and you'd be like, I don't know what's going on here, and you're constantly in a state of shock. So if I look at it from that perspective of a person in the real world that's been thrust into this new world, how would you react? Would you be all relaxed about it? Would you be all right about it? No, you'd be like going, hang on, if this can happen, I'm going to be constantly looking over my shoulder. I'm like, oh my God, you're constantly in a state of shock. And it's not as if, this is the movie goes over a course of weeks. It's over a course of a day, hours, so you're still going to be feeling that. If you're this character, you're going to be, if you're living in the shoes of this character, you're going to be thinking, oh my God, it's like, what the hell's going to be happening next? Who's going to pop up next? These powers, it's like, what the hell's going on? You're thrust into a world that you never knew existed with everything that's going on. And you think, oh my God, I can't, it's like, what can I do? How can I act? So I see it from that perspective. So I don't know how you lot in the chat see it, but I know how a lot of people saw the acting, and I just see from an in-world perspective to try and get me over, if you get what I mean, get me over it. So it's kind of probably my way of trying to make it plausible within the movie itself. So there you go. That's how I see how the Cole Young character come over from my perspective. So in terms of like Scorpion and Sub-Zero, the people are always going to say how they're the standout and this, that, and the other, but you got to give it to Kano for Cole Young's supposed to be the whipping boy, but it just seemed Kano was getting it from everybody. It's like, first of all, you had him chained up and then held down by a reptile, and then Sonya's throwing the knives, and she just happens to throw his knife in his own leg. And then later on, you see him, in the desert, and then Liu Kang comes along and gives him the fireball. And then you get to see Lord Raiden, and then Raiden just shocks him. So he seems to be getting it from all over the place. And I like it when he got shocked from Raiden. And then Raiden goes on about the story, like one more tournament, and the Earth is lost. And then kind of gets back up, brushes himself, and goes, as calmly as you like, what did I miss? Just brushes it off. It's like he's just used to it now. Cole gets the shit kicked out of him on a regular in the MMA gym. As you find out, the manager's told him he's against seasoned fighters and ninjas. But this is what I'm going to get into when it comes to Cole Young. The things they could have added, a few more tiny little scenes, that could have made us not feel for the character, but understand him more, if you get what I mean. So I'll be getting into that. I'll probably do that now. Marshmallow, he says the CGI was incredible, and I'm still baffled as to how they did the set designs. There weren't that many set designs, to be honest. If you look at the film, the two good set designs were the fight pit, which was probably linked to the whole Raiden's temple thing, and the ice gym. After, everything was just covered in ice. And I'm not going to fault it. It's really good. Them two set designs were really good, but everything else around it was obviously CGI'd. For what they did, it's really good. The warehouse fight with Sub-Zero. Not the warehouse, about the the flats, like the block of flats. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, it's like, with the amount of camera cuts in the film. It's like they tried to show a lot too much from every different angle. And this is what this film probably suffers from the most, of the amount of camera cuts, different camera angles, like every other second. It was a bit disorientating. I was expecting a lot more wide shots, a bit more expansion on the fights in terms of like extended kicks, extended punches, apart from like super close-ups that you don't see much, which is kind of like the Hollywood way now. It's like keep close in, and if you do a wide shot, make sure it's, you know, you don't do much, or, you know, you cut back in and keep it close. It's like, to get an audience into the action, you don't literally have to get them into the action, you know, like in between the fight, the fighters. You don't need that. Wide shots are good, and I will defend these films, but you got the Undisputed series from number 2, 3, and 4, which on the lowest budget you could possibly imagine, come up with some of the greatest fight scenes you'll ever see. So I strongly suggest watching the Undisputed series. Probably not the first one, but you can watch the first one just to get the idea of, like, you know, the character that comes into the second one. But from 2, 3, and 4, some of the fight scenes are really good. It's like the angles, the camera angles, the wide shots, the slow motions. It's some of the slow motion in those fights, they're very sparingly, and the choreography is top notch. And I'm surprised that they didn't do half of what I expected in the film, in the Mortal Kombat film. It's just a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a letdown. Just a bit. Going back up. John Dave said, mixture of practical and CGI and a shit ton of Vaseline. Is that Sub-Zero's gym? So the gym at the end. So I suppose you could call it Sub-Zero's gym after you finish with it. We got Mark in here. Nice to have your acquaintance. Chris German. Evening, humans. So we've got quite a few people in now. Bassy says, I blame the Taken series for the crappy fight editing. You know what? Now you've said that, I can see it now. Yeah. I mean, with the success of the John Wick films, you'd think they would have taken something from that. You know, they would have taken notes. But this is what we're here today. We're going to try and be constructive and try to figure out what could have been tweaked, what could have been fixed, what could have been changed, expanded. So this is what I'm going to try and do. So I'm not going to crap on the movie, because it was for a Mortal Kombat film that's a prequel. It did a really good job of setting up certain things. It set a tone of what's to come, and I did enjoy the tone of the film. So we're not here to trash it. It's going to be all constructive. Lassie says the last Taken movie will give you motion sickness. Yeah. It's like, how close can we get the camera on the action, like in between the fighters as they're fighting? Yeah. Constructive with a capital K. Yes. Constructive with a capital K. Yeah, before I get into the Cole Young thing, right, I'm going to get into a couple of Easter eggs in the film that no one kind of spotted. So I'm going to do this on a video. I'm going to do this now. So instead of doing it in the tweets, which I've already done, and they haven't spread that far, I'm going to do it I'm going to do it right now. So, so if I do this now, so we've got this one. At the end of the film, spoilers, everybody. Yeah, spoilers. I'm going to try and spoil the film as not as much as I can, but as as granted. So you got the poster of Johnny Cage at the end, but then at about 20 minutes in, when Sub-Zero's like making it snow, in the background as it's snowing, you see the full poster. You see the full poster here in the background. So they've got a person to do this picture, to stand there and have the photo taken with them, with the attire on. So I want to know who this is, who did the photo. And I get a feeling, due to the size of the hands, how meaty them hands are, right? I've got a feeling that it's John Cena. He probably won't be. I'm not saying that Johnny Cage will be John Cena in the next film. I'm just saying they've just got someone in who's on the payroll, and they've just said, could you do this? We're not going to show your face. We'll just show your frame. And he's like, yeah, okay, then I'll do that. So I think that this is Johnny Cage. His hands are massive. And John Cena's got some big hands. And, John Cena's on in some of the films that, that was produced by Todd Garner and his company. So just a random Photoshop. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I reckon they've done some practical there. Or it could be The Miz. The Miz's hands aren't that big. They're not. And they look a bit grainy. If you look at his hands in like the final shot, it's like they look a bit grainy. The Miz just looks a bit too cuddled and lotioned up. He puts on the lotion too much. I don't think it's The Miz. So there you go. That's like Easter egg number 1 for me. No one spotted that, so I thought that's a good spot for me. I'm going to go to the next one. So here we go. Here we go. There's another one. So when you see Sub-Zero just a little bit later and the table ices up, you see the reference to ketchup and mustard, which is Sector and Cyrax. the two Lin Kuei ninjas that are later turned into cybers. The Miz will be perfect for Johnny Cage. No. Why would you want someone that tries to be Johnny Cage in WWE to be a Johnny Cage in a Mortal Kombat film? So he's just going to be playing the same character. And I don't think he's got the martial arts skills needed. I don't think I would have The Miz. And I've already tweeted saying he's going to have to do some clips, like post out some clips of him doing some martial arts choreography, doing some martial arts moves, for him to even try and sway me. So at the minute, he's not on my list. So I'm sorry, Miz, but until you can prove to me otherwise, as a Mortal Kombat fan, right? Because you're trying to convince us fans, right? You're trying to convince us, and I'm one of these fans. So you got to try and convince me as a fan that you have what it takes to pull off a Johnny Cage, not just the persona, but in action as well. And you've got to make it believable. Yes, okay, you pulled off some moves in your the Marines films, but Johnny Cage is a different class. So, you prove it to me. Do some videos. You could record yourself kicking some bags in a gym, or get a few of your mates together and putting off some choreography with some Johnny Cage humor in there. You can do it, in a few minutes. You're going to have to try and convince me. Sorry. So no, for me, The Miz is a no-no. But it's on the onus of The Miz to try and convince me. Chris German says Scott Adkins. He was kind of like there for me, but I don't know if he's got the banter within him to put it off. That natural banter, if you see what I mean. He's definitely got the moves. He's definitely got the look. But when it comes to on the spot banter and humour, a bit like a Kano, but more of a stupid funny. I don't know if Scott Adkins could pull that off. So we're getting there. We're getting there. But my choice that's been for years, it's going to be the same as this guy. Mark comes in. I'm for Alan Mousey myself. Dave swung it for me. I swung it for him. Was it the posters that I created? But years ago I did a fan cast in an image many years ago, and I did get one right, and that was Ludi Lin as Liu Kang. That's the only one I got right. Everyone else was like kind of way off. It's a shame, but I did have Alan Mousey as Johnny Cage. He was in there. He was going to be he was my pick for Johnny Cage. So we'd have to see how far that goes. So I don't think I've got any more. Have I got any more? Oh, I've got more. Yeah, I think I've got one, but I'll touch on that later. So let's go back. So we're going to try and fix this now. Right. So when it came to the opening of the film, which was brilliant, and I'm going to skip over it because it doesn't need touching on of how good it was. There was nothing there that needed explaining or fixed, apart from when me and Future Boy and Lou's Life talked about it. It was Sub-Zero could have been waiting for Hanzo Hasashi in the woods during the time that Quan Chi was taking the form of Sub-Zero and killing everyone, the family and the clan. We've gone over that, and that could be used. So we'll just skip that, and we'll go to Cole Young. So we see Cole Young wrapping up into his fight with the other MMA fighter, Ramirez, I think it was. And hang on, let's move this out of the way for me. Can't see anything. And we see his butt. He gives as good as he gets, but in the end, he kind of like gets caught, and then eventually he taps out due to being stretched out and being hit on. So, John Davis, how about Dolph Ziggler? His super kick is awesome. You know what? You said it now, and he's another one that could fit the role more than the Miz. He could definitely fit it more than the Miz, I think. But I don't think he's going to want to, put his hair back to, dark again. And he hasn't got that presence anymore. So it's a shame. But yeah, I'd put him over the Miz. I'd put him more over. John Davies says he's Alan Mousey, not too big, too old. Sorry. If they're bringing in Johnny Cage, then he'd be in his 20s. Not really. At the height of his popularity, he's in his mid-40s, and Sonya is special forces. Again, is he in his 40s or just about to touch 40? Hang on, I've left something on here. What have I left on? That one. I don't know, but he can still move, and he's still young looking, and he's still got enough moles in him, and he can do his own stunts. There's a film, the last film he was in was at Jiu-Jitsu, and he literally did his own stunts. And he wants to do his own choreography, his own fights. He wants to do his own film. So he's moving up in terms of popularity. He's definitely got that presence. When he's on screen, he has that presence. I need to watch that movie. I've only seen bits and bobs, and people keep saying, it's crap. But I want to watch it, so I'll be watching that soon. So Vassie says she needs to watch that movie as well. I think Jax is in his 40s, and so is Joe Taslim. Yeah, Mark again. Yeah, exactly. So at the rate that they're banging out these films, if they're popular enough, like the Marvel films, they cannot bang out one or two every year. And they could definitely do this with this series, with this incarnation of Mortal Kombat. They could definitely do it. So it needs the support and the backing of the fans for them to go, okay, strike the iron while it's hot. So they can easily do it. They can easily bang out one a year. If everyone's on board and they see that the fans are behind these movies, then they can easily bang out one a year. If they wanted to, you know, they could go the Marvel route and do single films and then do an Avengers style again, like they did with this film, you know. But anyway, like I was getting to with the Cole Young. Now, the way I would have extended, a look into Cole Young, into why he kind of just give up in the fight. Say, before he looks in the mirror and sees, has that sense of Scorpion. You can see he's just had a shower. And you see him looking at himself as if he's kind of disappointed in himself. So I would do a scene before this where he's in the showers, he's alone. And it's not a female moment of, oh, he's naked. It's grey, it's dark, he's leaning against the wall. And you kind of hear what he was like before, how he was, champion, and he was, riding high, and then he got beat. So he would go over quick cuts of his memory when he's leaning against the wall, his arms against the wall, the water's pouring on him. You see the blood coming from him, washing off. And you would see quick, like black and white glimpses of him losing the titles, and then seeing him beaten, and then trying to get back into it by fighting other guys, and he's just losing. And he's losing, and he's dropping out the rankings, and he just basically just drops out. So then you just see every time he would lose, you'd see it in his face after every fight where he kind of he's lost the drive, he's lost the will. It's like he's not that fighter anymore. He's kind of lost it. He's all dejected. They could have just done quick cuts of that, and then cut to him looking at himself in the mirror. So now you know why he's lost all faith in himself. He's just there for the money now. It doesn't matter if he wins or loses. So win or lose, he's just called in to be the human punching bag, as the guy who owns the gym says, and he's going to get paid whether he wins or loses. And it doesn't matter, just as long as he provides for his family. So, yeah, for me, that would have made his character a bit more understanding. Probably not relatable. Probably someone you wouldn't get behind, but more of an understanding. So that's how I would have extended the scene before it gets to him looking in the mirror. So I'll read the chat again. Alamaru comes in and says, it's not as Bourne series fights, but could have been much better. Well, even though the Bourne fights seemed impactful, it's Hollywood fights. They were just too close. Couldn't really see much. Again, Alamo, the fatalities didn't feel intended. Yeah, I see what you mean. They could have built them up to a more. It's like they did with the Liu Kang one, with the dragon, with the fire dragon. You could see that when he extended his arms and his hands caught fire, it was a build-up. It's like something's coming. So some of the others you didn't see coming. Well, I suppose you could see the Kung Lao one coming. You knew that was coming. Yeah, you could see the Kung Lao one was coming. As soon as the hat come out and it hit the floor and then it started spinning, it was like, oh yeah, you know it's coming. So yeah, when it comes to the Cole Young character, they could have just played on the fact that he was a loser a bit more, but show kind of glimpses why, and he's kind of suffering from those losses, and he can't seem to bring up the drive or bring himself a goal, you know, something to win for, because he's going to get paid regardless. So he doesn't need to build himself up, if you see what I mean. So there you go. Cole Young could have been extended on more. Now, if, and this is a big if, say if Todd Garner and Russo was watching this, the writer, say if they're watching this video now, they could easily, if they wanted, they could get Lewis Tan back and literally do that scene in a shower and just slip it in there. They could slip a scene like this into the film, an extended cut or an alternative cut. If they wanted, they could, you know, if they really wanted this Cole Young character to be more over, more understanding, you know, they could do this within a day. They could film a scene where he's just been beaten up and he's in the shower by himself. It's a rundown shower. It's, you know, the water's spitting at him instead of like flowing, and the blood's dripping from him, and he's leaning against the wall. You know, side on, it's all dull grey. You don't really see him, but, you know, he's kind of like a silhouette. And you see the red, the blood dripping from him. It's been washed off. And then you can hear in his mind of him losing title fights and just not being able to have that drive back. Kind of like, you know, when you see an undefeated fighter get beaten and then they really find it hard to come back. And you could show quick cuts of every time he's lost a fight, it's just on him walking away, and it's just his face is down, and he's looking to his family. His family's worried, or, you know, it's just looking at him after the fights, looking dejected. There's no fight there. There's no eye of the tiger, you could say. So there we go. That's, if they really wanted to have the Cole character be a bit more understanding, they could do this scene and just slip it in there. So there we go. That's what I would have done. So I'm going to stick with the Cole Young character, and I'm going to quickly just jump ahead and get into the Goro fight. So when it comes to his Arcana, there's a bit of confusion, because I've been talking to the normies and they seem confused on what the power is. Those who don't know Mortal Kombat or are interested in Mortal Kombat and just watch this film from a normie standpoint, they tell me, is the power coming from the bracelet that his daughter made? Is the power coming from his daughter? And they're genuinely confused. They don't know. So my last stream, I was going over like Cole Young's possible power, and I think I described it really well before I even watched the film. I think I described it really well in that stream, and I think I was kind of right. Where Cole Young's power kind of comes from a power within him to be stronger and manifest and manipulate like objects and matter into what he needs at the time. And also the expansion of that power is that he can absorb energy, like kinetic energy. So you see Goro hitting him and he's kind of absorbing it, and he can use it back on there. So we see that, and we know that happens. But the way it was shown on screen didn't come off that way. It didn't come off that the power was from within him and he manipulated the bracelet to become what he needed. So I'm going to try and go over this scene, how I would have done it on screen. So, Cole Young has been, you know, smashed. Well, yeah, he's been smashed. And Goro's holding him up and he says to Cole Young, and I'm going to rip your spine. Then his missus comes and hits Goro with the axe. And then he smacks her away. And then Goro drops Cole, and then Goro pursues his family. So at that moment, you see Cole like trying to, you know, look over, get the strength. And he looks over, and then Goro starts ripping the car apart. So when he tears the door off, then you see Cole's eyes flash. And then you just see him like fold back. And then also he instantly goes to the bracelet. And then the bracelet starts turning, which is a bit too quick. They could have expanded on this a little bit more. They could have had Goro literally grab, you know, he's got the car door in his top hands. In his bottom hands, they could have had Goro actually hold and grab the daughter and his missus. And this is where Cole closes his eyes, right? Looks at, he has his fists in front of him, like he's trying to concentrate. So his eyes flash, but then he closes his eyes, he holds his fist in front of him, and then also he'll open his eyes and look at the bracelet, and then the voice of his daughter goes over, explaining again what that bracelet represents. So you hear it in his mind, his daughter's voice saying what it represents, which is strength. So again, he closes his fists and he closes his eyes. And then you see on his body a faint fiery glow. Now it's just a little glow, right? And it travels down from his body, down his arm to the bracelet. And then you see him look at the bracelet. I know this is coming off as long, but it would happen in one quick motion. So I'm trying to slow it down so you would see it. He would look at the bracelet, and then you'll see the bracelet start to unravel and then turn to like the metallic type of flexible metal that he needs. And then he goes over him. And then you see form over him. And then I think we'd understand the power a little bit more. That's how I would have done that scene. Because it would have been a little more understandable how his power works. So you see the glow from his body, it travels down. So he's building up the energy within himself, like generating the energy. Then he travels down into the arm, to the bracelet, because the bracelet represents strength. It's a callback to what his daughter said near the beginning of the film. And then it would have been a bit more understandable on how his power works. And then you would see Cole run and then grab the arm of he would literally hit him with the car door, wouldn't he? While still holding on to the daughter and his missus. And then you'd see that the energy rise, you know, be absorbed. And then you'd run and grab the arm where his daughter's in, and then, you know, twist the arm the other way, which would then make Goro release his missus. And then he can go into him dropping him, going underneath and dropping him. And then get into the fight where he's absorbing the energy. And then you hear his daughter say, deliver the uppercut. So then there's the uppercut. And when you see Goro literally pummel Cole with that jumping attack, I would have had. Now this is why I'm going to really change this. I'm going to really change it. Goro would have his swords on him. They'd be on his back, because if you notice, we don't really see his back. So I would have his swords like two facing up, two facing down. So then you see his top arms go to the top and his bottom arms go to the bottom, and then he pulls them out. And then he would look like what he does in the statue in Outworld, where you see that big statue of Goro. So now we see Goro with the swords. And Cole would then look at them swords, and the energy would seem it would disperse to then have his weapons. He would then have his tonfa, and then have his bladed tonfa. I could get into this a bit more, where I would change these weapons to swords, but I'll leave that for another time if people really want to know how I'd change that. But I would keep his weapons for now. So then he would fight Goro, blocking like the attacks from Goro that are coming in with the swords. And every time the swords would hit the armor, or if they were blocked by his weapons, they would start to generate energy. You would hear it. You'd hear the build-up, and you'd see it. So the biggest change I would have done was not have Cole kill Goro, but beat him. Only because the energy that Cole was saving, he would use to deliver a massive blow to Goro that would force Goro to block with all 4 blades that would smash his blades. So he'd smash him, and then after that, instead of like attacking Goro, he would stand in front of his daughter and his missus in a guard position. Goro would look at his smashed up swords, get angry, and then instead of like attacking, he would call out to Shang Tsung and say, "Send me back." Literally back to Outworld. He wouldn't say any more. He would literally say, "Send me back." And he'd have that look on his face of like, "You've beat me this time. I'll be back." So then a portal opens, and then Goro disappears. And then it would get back to where his daughter would say, "Badass suit, Dad." So I would have Goro be sent back to Outworld because of what Goro says. Shang Tsung, send me back. You know, Shang Tsung knows where everyone is, right? So he would hear Goro say that, assuming he has taken care of Cole. So that's how I would have changed those scenes. So you've got the extended scene of trying to get over and explore what Cole Young's power is. And then you've got the biggest change, which is having Goro survive. Mainly because you're having Goro, who's supposed to have been around for the last 500 years, winning this tournament, supposedly beating the best of the best. And then you have a character like Cole Young just come in and take out the supposed champion of the last 500 years. Now, I say supposed because I don't know if anyone noticed, but when you first have the presence of Goro in Outworld, with the door, the big door that opens to Shang Tsung, Shang Tsung says to Goro, says, "Prince Goro, it's an honor to have Shao Kahn blood on our side." And I was thinking, hang on, wasn't Goro already on your side for the past 500 years? Shouldn't he have already been on your side? And he wasn't referred to as the champion of Mortal Kombat. He wasn't referred to as the champion. It seems that I think what they're trying to do in this incarnation is claim the fighters as champions of the Mortal Kombat. It's like their realm or their side, as they're all champions. There's not one champion. So say Goro would kill everybody and win Mortal Kombat. his side would be champions, the champions. I think that's what they're doing. And I don't really like that. But unless they're doing that just for this film, they'll probably do something different for a potential sequel. Where if Liu Kang is to win, you know, then you could say, you know, because the tournament's over and taken out of Shang Tsung's control, then, you know, Earthrealm and Raiden and the Shaolin Temple could then proclaim Liu Kang to be the champion. He's the one that beat the biggest threat. So, yeah, in this film, they didn't refer to anyone as the champion, just a champion, which I found odd. So, again, I don't think they should have killed off Goro and have someone like a new character take him out. I know they were trying to get him over. I could see what they were trying to do. But if they're playing to Mortal Kombat fans, then you're not going to get a new character over by killing off someone that's supposed to be the big bad. You're not going to do it. And I wish that I could have gone to a test screening and dropped my notes. I wish I could have, because I would have said all of this. But anyway, you know, what's done is done. The film's out and it still did really well. I still enjoyed it. There's some things that I'll change, alter, extend. So there we go. That's what I would have done. That would have been the biggest change. Yeah, Alamaro says he killed the great Kung Lao. Yeah, 500 years ago. Yeah, exactly. Goro killed the great Kung Lao. So don't you think that kind of like diminishes the great Kung Lao a bit, the way they've gone about it? Now, again, we don't know how much control Russo had over the script, what he had to change, how much time he had. You know, with the time that they had and the changes they had to do, things could have just slipped through them cracks. You know, there's those little things. And hindsight is always good. Hindsight's always good. So anyway, right, I'm going to get into... I'm going to do my, quickly, alternate Jax, way he got his arms. I'm going to quickly do this. Right? I did not like how his Arcana brought metal out of nowhere. It didn't make sense. Where I know his power's supposed to be strength, but don't you think his Arcana would have at least grew back his original arms? At least, right? Now, for me to change this, what I would have done is, right, they're at Raiden's temple. And you see Jack's trying to train with his arms. And he gets frustrated and says, it's not me. And then Sonya, you know, at the end, she says, get off your fucking ass, right? Get off your fucking ass, Major. So she says that. And he kind of like, he goes, okay. You know, he acknowledges what she says. A little scene with her sending out a message to her base, calling all of her favors to have a flyover drop-off. A quick scene to have a flyover drop-off of a crate. And then she brings it in. She drags it in. She goes to Jax and says, I've got something for you. You know, these are for you. These are prototype. She opens it, and it's them arms that you see that he's got. And she says that, you know, they're heavy as hell, right? There's not much energy in these. They're fueled by power cell, right? Now I'll get into why after, sorry. And they're definitely better than what you've got now, right? So you see him attach them on, and they're very heavy. He can barely pick them up, right? He can barely pick them up, but he's got more of a fighting chance. So fast forward to Rico beating the hell out of him because Jax can barely pick up these arms. So he's still, he's suffering from the weight of these arms. He needs the strength. You see him, he's trying to struggle. So he gets hit, and then, fast forward again, he's trying to pick up the boulder that's over Sonya. So the way I would have done this scene, right, he's already got his arms, but he can't lift the boulder because first the arms are heavy, and he hasn't got the power in his legs or body to lift up that boulder. So as it plays out, you see in here him gaining the power, his arcana. And the way I would have shown this on screen is that you see light, like a light coming from his muscle fibers in his body. You see like flash over his muscle fibers, and they're traveling all over the place at rapid speed. It even shines through his trousers. It's like a faint glow through his trousers. So you can see that his arcana is his strength, and it's strengthening his muscles, and it's traveling all over his body. And also then you see him pick up the boulder, and now he's got the power to throw it and use his arms. He's got the power in his legs. His power is strength. He now has the strength. And I think that adding that little scene or changing the scene would have been a lot better than just metal forming out of thin air. It just didn't sit well with me. And I think it didn't sit well with a few people as well. But again, I'm trying to be constructive. And I'm hoping if they had enough money, they could Snyderverse it or Snyder cut it. Sorry. If there's a big enough outcry for it, they could give Todd Garner a bit more money and sort the movie out, the little kinks, the little cracks there. So then, with the power cells, I would have had a little scene in the void where Jack looks at his arms and goes, they're nearly out of energy. And you see Raiden look at his arms and grab his arms. He goes, let me try something. And then Raiden would use his energy to then charge up the power cells in each arm. And then Jax would look at him and go, you're not going to throw me, are you? And then Raiden could then say, look at him and go, I don't know. I've never tried this before. Just a quick scene between them pair. A little bit of play. So then it adds more like urgency to the Jax character than just metal forming out of nowhere. So there we go. I'm hoping that Todd and Russo are kind of looking at this and going, okay, maybe we could have changed a few things. So there you go. And right, so that's what I would have done with the Jax thing. I'll quickly get to the ending because where you see Raiden and the group after the victory. We see a bit of a story flaw because apparently Raiden can teleport anybody anywhere at any given time. So what was the point in having a shield when to stop Shang Tsung and his minions from fighting the Earth Warriors? What was the point of having the shield when he could just teleport them anywhere he wanted, like he did near 3/4 in? So it just seemed a bit. Could you call it a plot hole? Could you? I don't know. It could be classed as a plot hole because he didn't do it early in the film, but he did it later in the film. So the way I would have gotten around this, it's very simple. At the end, when you see Raiden say, "Today we were victorious." After this, a little bit more dialogue, just a little bit more. He looks at everyone and goes, "But Shang Tsung was right. The Elder Gods have grown to not care for this realm and lost faith in their own rules. Shang Tsung will break the rules to destroy Earth. So I will at least bend the rules to try and make the Elder Gods care and uphold their rules of Mortal Kombat. That is what I would have done. That's my little bit of dialogue there. A little bit of an extended scene. So basically, Raiden didn't do what he did before because not because he's tied to the rules of Mortal Kombat, but because he wants to hold up the rules. He wants to play by the rules. He still has faith in the Elder Gods and the rules of Mortal Kombat. He doesn't want to break the rules. He will bend them to try and make the old Elder Gods, look this way. It's like, hey, look over here. They're breaking the rules down here, and you're not giving a shit. So, with this little bit of dialogue that I've come up with, it will take out that little plot hole. As what Raiden didn't do earlier, what he did later in the film. Vasi says, people complain about Raiden have me confused. I will, if you're still willing to come on, I can have you on now and you can explain it. Do you want to come on? If you want to come on, I will send you the link right now. So I've sent you the link, Vasi, via Twitter. I've just sent you the link. So there we go. You can come on and then you can try and explain your the confusion that people have with Raiden. And then if you want to talk about anything else, so we'll wait. So if other people have questions, they can shoot the questions in. If we don't answer them now, I could probably answer them later on in the comments to this, or my Twitter is on here at Dave Savage 1982. So I'm there. And just shoot me some questions. So we're going to have a guest. We have Vasi on now. So I'm going to bring her on right now. Here we go. Say hello to Vasi.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Hang on, let me turn my volume. I keep forgetting that my volume's low.
Oh.
There we go. I can hear you now.
Oh, perfect.
So there we go. I don't know how have you've been listening from the start, haven't you?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Okay, so just give a quick rundown on what you think of my change, and do you think they would have made the film just a little bit more streamlined?
Very much so. I'm just coming from a more normie point of view. I don't have your level of knowledge. And there's parts of the movie when I'm like, I don't understand the rules you've given me in the world. And
okay.
Yeah, like if they're giving me plot holes that I can see, there's an issue, and because you filled it out, it's like it's closed off all those plot holes for me.
The rules are no one can interfere before the tournament, and the Elder Gods will basically, they will shoot down anybody that tries to break their rules. And as it seems in this film, for the past 9 tournaments, it seems that Shang Tsung's been breaking the rules, and he even says that the Elder Gods have been not caring. They don't care. They're lazy. So they've just been allowing Shang Tsung to break the rules to, basically interfere before the tournament, which will make there be no tournament, and then Outworld will win. So there's supposed to be a tournament every generation, and the Elder Gods have set the rules that to give a world a fighting chance against the invading world, they have to win 10 tournaments in a row. And then, and only then, they can claim the world as theirs. So that's basically it's basically to give a world a fighting chance, because the Emperor of Outworld, Shao Kahn, was just taking over worlds willy-nilly and basically ruining the fabric of reality and universe and everything else. So they had to try and find a way of slowing him down. So they brought the tournament in to give everyone a fighting chance. So this was what the tournament was made for, to give everybody a fighting chance. And Shang Tsung's just been he found out that the Elder Gods weren't doing anything, so he kept doing what he was doing and breaking the rules. But Raiden, still having faith in the Elder Gods, still doesn't want to break the rules himself, because he's been forbidden. He's literally been forbidden. But he can probably bend the rules. And this is what I think he did in this film. He bent the rules. So there we go. So that's kind of like a quick rundown of like the rules of Mortal Kombat.
I'm just curious, was this there and the editor took it out? Because there's a lot of stages where there's like, I'm not even touching the fight choppy editing, but in general, we're hopping around constantly. And I'm like, I'm losing myself in the continuity here, guys. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it seemed to like zap them to different worlds or just to Outworld. Just to get that fan service of like the pit stage, where you see Jackson Rico on the pit. And it's like the pit wasn't used, and it's a shame, because you see the pit, you expect someone to get knocked down it, which is what I would have changed the fatality to have Jax do his arm rip fatality, because I don't know whether he's got a fatality where he rips out your arms instead. So he rips out, he could have ripped out Rico's arms and then do a massive uppercut to Reiko, which had him then fall down into the pit.
Yeah,
that's what I would have done. Then the pit would have made sense. You see what I mean? It was just there for fan service. So it just seems that they zapped them all over the place, like you said. But yeah, the chopping around, cutting around, and the fight scenes with so many camera. I've never known a film to have so many camera angles in fight scenes. I've never known it. And it just took me out, because like they're back to front, then they're close to the screen, then they're away from the screen, then they're back to front again. And I'm like, what's going on? I don't see the techniques.
Yeah.
I don't see what's going on. And it was frustrating to watch.
If you watch a lot of like the Korean, Japanese movies, you get one angle and you might get two if you're lucky. And it's such a difference between that and like American style action movies. And I know I said the joke earlier about Taken. There's certain points in the Taken franchise, I get motion sickness because they're just hopping around and I can't see anything. It's stop.
That's because Liam Neeson had to do everything himself. So it's like, keep it as close as you can, so all we can just see him is waving his arms. But,
it's so true, though.
It's I think you should watch the Undisputed films, as I said. You don't really need to watch the first one.
Okay.
It's the second one, third one, and the fourth one. And they're directed by the same director. And he also, choreographs fights as well as directing. And even though he choreographs his own fights, he does get choreographers in to help. And these films that he's done, they've had like less than a month to film. Okay. Literally less than a month to film and do the fight scenes. So it's like, if you watch these films and you say to yourself, they've done these in a month. It's like filmed and then, edited together and everything else. It's like you'll think, oh my God, why didn't the fight scenes in Mortal Kombat come off 10 times better?
Yeah.
But if you ever go on YouTube and just type in Undisputed 234 fight scenes, you'll see the fight scenes. And you'll be impressed, highly impressed.
Interesting.
Especially with the camera angles as well. Like you say, it's not choppy. They're spot on. So, yeah. What was the deal with Raiden that you said people had confusion with?
There's just a lot of complaints he was boring. And I'm like, what were you expecting? Do you expect him to come down and blast everyone and kill everyone? Like, there's rules here, people.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know whether I said in another thing, I don't know if you think like this is like the MCU and he's like Thor and we're kind of getting that. That's not how this works. It's just so funny how when I was reading like a lot of the tweets and stuff, it's like, oh, Raiden's boring, and then they were complaining the actor was too wooden as well, which is a whole different story. But I'm like, dudes, like, I don't know what you wanted.
I know. Well, I saw the Raiden character. You know when I said about the Cole Young character, where I saw him as a character that's just been thrust into a separate world, and he's like constantly shot.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what's coming up. The way I'd see Raiden is that he's so dejected. He feels like he even said, "This is what I've got to work with," and even then, he looked disappointed in himself.
Yeah.
This is how I saw the character. So if you found him boring, the way I would try to rationalize that, if you watch it again, try and say in your mind, well, look what he's got to work with, and look how many years he knows that how Shang Tsung's been breaking the rules, and the Elder Gods haven't been helping him. He seems like a god, a thunder god that's really dejected and doesn't really care.
Yeah.
So that's how I saw it. But the first time I saw it, and I thought, this guy, he's really down on himself. This is how I saw it. The way he put himself over, the way he was walking, the way he looked, the way he talked to the fighters. He's like, you don't even have a marking, or you're not ready, and things like that. And then he just shot Kano. It's like he is a character, a god that's dejected, and he feels like that. It's like their last moments. He feels like this is it. He's backed up into a corner now, and he feels like Earth has lost. This is how I saw Raiden in this film. So I don't know if you used to watch it again with this in mind, maybe you would see it that way.
Yeah. And
now that you know of the rules of the tournament, and what I've explained, how this is the last tournament, and the fighters aren't there for Raiden to care about or have any sort of what can I say, like confidence in. Maybe if you watched it again with this in mind, you'd probably think, okay, I can see that Raiden's a bit dejected.
Yeah.
Not a boring person, but really dejected, because like at the end of the film, you do see him have a bit more vigor about him.
Yeah, definitely.
You see when he actually says he teleported Shang Tsung and then says, "You talk too much." Yeah. So he then had that confidence back.
Yeah.
So that's how I saw the Raiden character, and I think that's how. If I was to say to people now, how would you look at it? I would say that to them. I'd say, look at it this way, and I reckon people would see it that way, knowing the rules, knowing what's happened or what's going to happen, and then looking at Raiden at the end and see how he is at the end. So there you go. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, I just find that so funny because Chris actually said it. The film could have done with a bit more Raiden dialogue, though. And then he also said, I've watched some ridiculous reviews on YouTube. I've seen this movie being called the worst video game movie ever. And I'm like, dudes, like, I honestly don't know what you thought you were getting with a Mortal Kombat movie.
I've seen some video game adaptations, especially when it comes to fighting games.
Yeah.
And I'll say it again, the worst fighting video game movie ever made is The King of Fighters. People need to watch that, and if you know the games and then you watch the film, it's two totally different worlds. Then it's like all they've done is taken the names of characters, taken the title, and then just slapped it on a totally different film. A totally different fight film. Yeah. There's nothing in there that is from The King of Fighters, the game. Nothing at all. And it's when I watched that, I was like, what the hell is this? And if you really want to, go and say what is the worst video game adaptation ever, they really haven't seen The King of Fighters.
Yeah.
Oh, Future Boy's just dropped in. Guess who's just dropped in? He says.
It's just, I feel like it was outrage for outrage's sake, because I watched.
Yeah, I think expectations were exploded.
Yeah.
And the trailer that they brought out blew everyone away. all the articles that were coming out saying how people spent a lot of time on the fights, on the choreography, on the set pieces, on the wires, on the acting. You know, we were given this this notion that this was going to be the top dogs.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, there's still a lot that's missing from this film. And I don't know if it's because they had to cut it down for cinema time purposes to keep the movies running over and running over and running over to try and get money. Because if the movie was an hour and a half, 2.5 hours, then it's less time being at the cinemas, which means they're going to lose more money. So I'm thinking and I'm hoping that, say, if they're going to release this again later down the road, that they're going to bring out an extended version.
Yes,
and
hopefully.
the fights are going to be longer, and there is going to be more dialogue. This is what I'm hoping for, and this is what I kind of thought I'd do this stream on and try to get my changes, my extended bits, my fixes over, in the hope that if they do have time and money later on down the line, they can do these little changes. I know it's what I want to do to fix the film. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what I would do to fix this film in my eyes. And I have got a few more, but I don't want to keep the stream going on and on. So was there anything else that you was confused over?
I just wanted to pick your brain. When I had the issue with the Melina and Sonya fight, and you kind of broke it down for me why I was having a kind of like, it was lacking for me. Yeah. How would you have changed it around?
Sonya's supposed to be this special forces fighter, elite fighter. And all I saw in the film was her wave her knife. And then do a twisty backflip, which is the most energetic thing I think I saw in that fight between her and Melina. What I would have done was at least have her use her legs and do some sort of, knock or block off or twist up Melina to, stop her from using her side daggers, and then use her legs to literally do like a flip with her legs on Melina, to show that, this is in the game, like the handstand move. Yeah. The handstand leg flip. They could have done something like that. Show that she is an elite fighter against, someone that's trying to attack her. At least do something. And then have Melina get on top and then stab her in the arm. Then take it from there. And then I think they kind of redeemed her a bit when in her fight with Kano. They showed more of, her fighting. So
way better.
Yeah, it's Kano. he was the heart and soul of this film.
He was.
Whereas Sub-Zero was like I watched the stream and someone says that they are the Jason Voorhees of this film. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. So Sub-Zero, man, it's like they really made him like a top tier villain, which is really good. Kano, definitely, I can't fault him with his lines, and some of the things he was saying, they had me rolling. They really did. But when he was, he become the whipping boy. He got Sonya's blade in the leg, and then he got Liu Kang's fireball, and then he had Raiden's lightning. And each time he was like shrugging it off, like he's used to it. Yeah. But yeah, with the Sonya fight, they could have done more with Melina, because it's supposed to be some girly scrap, and I mean, I suppose in one way it did boost Melina as being someone to mess with. That you don't want to mess with her. She will take her out whenever she wants. I think they tried to get Melina over more in this little bit. With the fight. So they could have done more with her in the final fight as well, but that's another thing. So yeah, someone wants to talk about Kabal. Yeah, Kabal's voice, definitely a New York
Oh yeah.
accent. And when he standing there, he's menacing enough, and I didn't expect him to talk. And then when he
Yeah.
started talking, I was like, "Wow, he's really broke out of his shell."
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah," he's like, "Yeah, he's a real asshole." I'm like, "Oh, wicked!" And then he started, the interaction with Kano was good.
I preferred
There's
him
more
than
there that they can
Kano.
expand on.
I seem to be the only one. Everyone was like Kano. I'm like, no man, Kabal. What are you talking about? I prefer
Yeah.
Kabal.
They both kind of stood out, and you kind of like you want to know what happened more between Kano and Kabal. So again, this is a prequel. It's laying the groundwork. So there we go, and we all know that even though a lot of people died in the film, they're all mostly going to come back.
Of it, yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that they're going to bring him back, but it's going to be hard to bring back someone like a Goro and then have him menacing again when he's being beat by a noob.
He's like the punching bag. Disappointing.
Yeah. Unless in the sequel they have Goro have like a few lines of dialogue saying, "Last time I didn't think much of you.
Yeah.
I should have been more prepared." Something like that, just to show that he was too arrogant and he let himself slip. But he could say something like, "This time I will not fail," or something like that.
Yeah.
Have him, if they're not going to change anything, and have the Todd cut,
Yeah.
then they're going to have to try and explain how Goro kind of like just what's the word? Didn't see Cole as a threat.
Yeah.
And then took him too lightly. They could do that. And then you could probably have Goro, you're going to have to build him back up again.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a really hard time because, again, this film kind of like backed themselves into a corner, a few corners with a few things.
There's very like I said before, I felt more like invested in like the Hanzo first 10 minutes than what Cole was going through.
Okay,
and even though his family was involved in like the Goro scene, I had no sense of emergency. I was just sitting there going, this is fine. Like
yeah, which is why I come up with my way of doing it. I'd have had Goro actually have his family round the necks.
Yeah.
And then have Cole Young try to will himself, try to will have a goal, a will, a fight, a drive within himself to bring forth his power within that moment of he could lose everything, his wife and his daughter, and then have him have the goal and the fight and the will, and then bring forth his power. And I think it would have come across better. But yeah, again, it's just me trying to expand, to try and rationalize things more. It's hard to, because everyone's got their own interpretations, and all I see is that the haters, just crapping on the film and not coming up with anything constructive.
Exactly.
And I'm going to do that. I'm going to just come up with something constructive, something that people can actually think about and go, yeah, that would have worked. It's just a shame that they didn't do it in the film. They'll probably have time restraints. You never know.
Yeah.
But I don't want to crap on the film because I want the Mortal Kombat movie universe to thrive. I want more sequels. They did some of the characters some really good justice. Some of them they didn't, but they can expand on them. And if the fans and the non-fans want more explanation and want more films to come out, then they're going to have to not bite the bullet, but accept that these films come out and they can improve. There's room for improvement in sequels.
Exactly, yeah.
And even Todd himself says they are listening to us. So if they're just going to keep listening to the bad, then they're going to choose not to listen to us.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So people like me, Future Boy, Lose Life, yourself, to name a few, Marky, Sub-Zero in our group, if we just be constructive and be like positive as much as we can, then it's going to lower their defenses more and make it'll make them want them to engage and want new ideas from us.
Exactly. And like the thing is, like when you say I had an issue and this is reason 1, 2, and 3, you're giving feedback and you're involved. But people just saying it's a trash fire, why I didn't like it. Like how is that supposed to help anybody or improve anything? And that's my issue. When like this hate train started, I noticed it was after the first day of release, this whole bandwagoning thing started, and I was like, the worst video game movie ever. And I was like, but you're not saying why. You want clicks and you want to get people riled up and you want the fans to go in and defend the film. You're adding nothing to the conversation. And I think that's important because I'm sick of this whole like toxic fan thing. You're getting constructive feedback. Like people care. Like, you know?
Yeah, it's like Twitter's just a cesspool of hate.
Yeah.
And people could just type in something and go, haha, balls, bollocks, and blah blah blah, and then just send it, and then they don't care. There's nothing constructive there. No. And yet when we call them out for it, they go, what are you crying for? It's like, well, you just all you're doing is crying yourselves. You're not trying to help the situation. You're just dragging it further into the dirt.
Exactly.
But I like Future Boys just said, "Wow, this is Dave's longest stream yet." No, it really isn't. My first stream was over 2 hours. Yeah, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. No. It would be good to have an extended cut just to see if they do close off some of these issues we have. Flesh out characters a bit more. You never know.
I honestly feel like we have because I know Lewis Tan said there was more fight scenes than ever made it in. So it's out there in the void. we just haven't seen it.
Literally the void.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of another plot hole for me. It's like Raiden was saving the attack from Shang Tsung with the shield in the fight pit in Raiden's temple. Yet why didn't we just send them all to the void and they would have been fully protected then?
Interesting.
Yeah, but then they wouldn't have had the ground, the area to train. The environment. You know what I mean? But yeah, it just seemed the void would have been a place to send them and go, haha, Shang Tsung, you can't get them now.
Hide and seek.
Unless they explain that the void is somewhere. That takes a lot of energy to get to and take you all to. Again, I'm just trying to fix things on the spot.
Yep.
To rationalize things, to make things a little bit more plausible. There you go.
No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the strong female characters for once, and like no one is like getting Sonya's back on Twitter, because when normally like a strong female character comes out and they're all like, yes, queen, the way you get that for like 2 weeks. No one's mentioning Sonya. I'm like, dudes, where are you?
She just beat the crap out of Kano.
Yeah.
And did you notice in the whole film there was no shove it in your face as well?
I know.
I'm a strong female character.
Yes.
There was nothing forced. And I could just enjoy it for that. And while I was watching, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, are they going to use this? Are they going to say that, I'm a strong female character? The only thing close to that was when Sonya says, when you trained me to be an elite fighter, to Jax, that was the closest you ever got.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even close. Do you see what I mean?
Exactly.
So she knows that she was trained to be an elite fighter. So we know Sonya is an elite fighter. But everyone that watched the film and all the fans know that Sonya's a strong character anyway. She kicks ass regardless. We don't need telling that she's a strong character. We just know that she is.
Exactly.
So I think it is testament to the film and everyone involved that they didn't do any of this to like alienate any one side of the ideology. If you get what I mean.
And it's funny, when we're making like female characters now, they're so one-dimensional, but Sonia still cared and like supported everyone around them. And I think when they're making female characters now, it's like, oh, they have such like, no, I'm a badass. Like, but there's like no one's characters like that. We all have different like aspects to ourselves.
Yeah.
So she's still strong. She still has a caring side. She's still confident.
Yeah.
We need layers.
But it's funny when Kung Lao's sister goes, this place is only for people that are chosen, and Kang goes, ha, fucking whoops. I pissed myself at that. One of them Kano moments. But when he said that, I was like, oh, I was rolling. Again, Kano. He just come with them one-liners. And then with the sweeping, the spamming.
Yes.
That was just, it's gonna be a classic moment, that is.
Yes.
It's gonna be and it's like when he got caught the first time, he goes, cute, real cute. And then he goes, let's see you try it again. Before he can finish his sentence, he gets swept again. He goes, is that the only move you got, mate? And he goes through it again, and then he jumps and he goes, fuck. He knows it's coming. So funny. He was done really well.
Yeah, he has great comic timing, I have to say, Josh.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, so it'd be good when he comes back, and then they can get into the whole Black Dragon deal in, arms dealing and tech, and then he could give himself the laser eye or the eye protection, because they don't really have to give him a cybernetic eye, because if they're going to bring him back, then his eye is going to come back anyway, but he'll probably come back with like the scar on his face, and he'll want to cover that up with tech or make his eye. They could probably the idea of the eye plate, it could just make his eye blast stronger, like amplify. Yeah. They could make an amplifier instead of like a replacement.
Interesting.
Yeah. If they want to do something different and make Kano, make him more of a threat than he is with the laser eye, they could give him like this device that's stuck to his head and it just amplifies. Yeah, it's an idea.
I like your idea.
Again, another on-the-spot flipping thing. so
on the fly.
Todd, I'm free. I'm free. My DMs are open.
All the good ideas.
But there you go. With Melina, CC Stringer, I reckon she did a good job. She did a good job for Melina.
Yeah.
Really made Melina look wild and feral.
Yes.
And I did like that. For the screen time that she had, she did it well.
Yeah.
I think she did it. Yeah, sorry,
I like hyped it. I know I hyped it up. I knew she wasn't getting a load of screen time, but I was like, yes, she came out. But I was happy. Like, she didn't have any lines. She still had a strong presence. She did kind of do like controlled yet wild at the same time. I was just like, yes.
The line that she delivered to Sonia saying, your death has no worth.
Yes.
That was delivered really strong.
Yes.
I believed it.
Buff. She was buff.
Yeah, she was like disappointed, and and it made Sonia probably feel really like, because all the way through the film, she's like, I haven't got a mark, and she really wants the mark. So it's like when she was said that your death has no worth, he's like, really, rub the salt in.
Such a good line.
Yeah. But everyone's talking about who's going to play Katana, and I think what's swayed it for me is CC Stringer's not just her performance as Melina, but we saw pictures of her lately, all dressed up.
Yes.
Have you seen that? And I would be all for her also playing Katana. So what do you think of that?
I saw the photos that were getting retweeted, and she had a lot of like gold and like smoky eye and stuff, and I was like, oh yes.
So it'd be a nice contrast, because if they really want to do the the Katana and Melina look alike, with a bit of difference, CC Stringer, she's got a certain look about her that you'd recognize.
Yes.
And if you put her next to someone that only just looks like her, I think you'd notice it. So if you CC Stringer playing Katana as well, I would be all for that. You know, she's definitely won me over to playing that role for the way she was in this film and how she looks in real life. You know, dolling herself up. So it'd be nice to get that trending. That have CC Stringer play Katana.
I feel like she took a lot of like flack at the start. Like I'm not gonna jump too much into the whole politics thing, but like I was like, leave the woman alone. Like she was out training, she cared about the fans, and she like wanted, like she researched the role. Like what more do you want?
She definitely embraced the Melina-ism.
Yes, what like we berate actors for not caring about the role, and like she threw herself in, and people still complain. I'm like, dude, like just let her go on screen, and then we'll like tear it apart later. But can we just like get her there first?
So yeah, you could definitely see the hurt in her eyes. Yeah, you could see it.
So good.
Yeah, Laura44. Thanks for dropping in. Thanks to everyone for dropping in. I hope this is like entertaining enough for you. You know, I didn't expect Vassy to come on today, but I said, "Did you want to come on?" And she's like, "Yes, let me know." I wanted to get half an hour in and then have people in. But, you know, me trying to explain. You know, everyone should know me by now that when I get into detail, I'll go into extreme detail.
Well, it's good though, because we need enthusiasm, because half the time in live streams or in YouTube in general, you can tell people don't give a crap.
Yeah.
Like you care and it shows, and you're enthusiastic and you have so many great ideas. And like that's a great positive thing.
I do try to be myself. I mean, I'm trying to keep it low because my neighbours, you know, they complain. But yeah, I do have the enthusiasm's there when I get into it. You know, when I get into it, it's like a tunnel vision. And I want to go through all the details, but I've still got a lot more I've got to get through, but I ain't going to do it today. I won't get to it. I will try and keep it below 2 hours if I can.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm glad that you decided to come on and, you know, put your questions forward and your concerns. And hopefully I've put some things to rest. Some of the things you don't know, now you do know. So there you go. Hopefully the people that are watching as well, they've got a bit more of a more rounded idea of the when it comes to the Mortal Kombat property, the games, the stories. And if they didn't get the film because of the bits that were, a bit off, hopefully me explaining what I would have done, can help them try and go, yeah, I could see it done that way. Yeah, I could see it done that way. Things like that. So, yeah, it's nice to interact with people in a positive way instead of just seeing online, oh, it's shit, oh, it's crap, worst video game movie ever, like you said. It's not worth it. I don't bother replying to those type of people now.
No, I'm trying to keep my timeline a peaceful positivity area. I'm just like, I'm not arguing with anyone anymore.
Sometimes I kind of like, the monster comes out every now and again.
You just have to let it out sometimes. I'm just like, I'm not entertaining nonsense today. I don't care.
Alamaro says I keep forgetting that Kabal is dead. They're all coming back though. They're all coming back. It's just that how are they gonna make them dangerous next time? You see what I mean? It's again, they've backed themselves into a little corner, and they're going to try and the writing's going to have to be airtight on how to make these people legitimately dangerous again.
Yeah, exactly. Especially Goro.
The Goro thing, if they explain it well through dialogue, saying, I took you too lightly, I did not expect you to do this, I can forgive it a little bit. If they say, if Goro says himself, I did not expect you to be much of a threat, or something along those lines. I expected it to be easy. I was champion for 500 years, or something silly like
that.
Yeah. So there we go. Let's have a look through the chat. Cyborg Goro. That's funny. That's something new. I've never seen that. Chris said the second film needs to be tournament based. It will be.
Yeah.
And because they've mentioned that it'll be a trilogy, I reckon to round off the trilogy, we'll go into Outworld and fighting Shao Kahn. So I don't know if you've played the Mortal Kombat 2 game or know anything of it.
Yes, I've played the games over the years, but I'm not like, I wouldn't be as knowledgeable in any way as you were, but I have played them.
The second game, the story behind the second game is Shang Tsung kind of, even though he was defeated, he kind of changed the rules to allow the tournament to continue. So it was still the first tournament going into the second game. But they said, if you come to Outworld now and compete in the tournament, if you win, then, Shao Kahn will leave you all forever. But if we win, then we take over now. And they kind of jumped at the chance. They had to. Was it Sonya and Kano was taken, and people in the Wushu Academy was the Temple of Light, the monks were murdered. So there's a bit of a revenge adventure as well. So I reckon to round up the trilogy, I reckon they'll travel to Outworld. That would be the fight against Shao Kahn. But I reckon in this second film, it will all be the tournament, and they basically to kill off Shang Tsung. And basically getting Kung Lao's soul back. I reckon that's going to be the goal. There was a story I wanted to do in this where when you see Shang Tsung take Kung Lao's soul, this is my little twisted take on it. Now, you see Shang Tsung steal Kung Lao's soul, and my little twist on it is he didn't kill the body of Kung Lao before he took the soul. So the way I'd love this to play out is that he's taken the soul, but the body is kind of living like a zombie, but like a lifeless zombie, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
It's a body without a soul. Do you see what I mean? And the time that it's like they're running out of time to get the soul back into Kung Lao's body before the body dies and the link is broken between the body and the soul. There's like a link there, and the link will be broken if the body dies. So you could have like a time limit on Liu Kang trying to get Kung Lao's soul back to the body. So if you've ever seen the Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath, where Shang Tsung takes the souls of Raiden and Fujin, he takes their souls, but their bodies are still alive. They're like zombified. He keeps them alive to make them see the destruction of the realms and everything else. So it's kind of my version of Kung Lao's body still being alive but zombified because there's no soul in it. He's like a callback to that. So I reckon it's a good way to try and give a goal to Liu Kang, just like a time limit on trying to get the soul back from Shang Tsung to put back into Kung Lao's body. Yeah. But that's just another little twisted idea I had at work today.
No, but we can add things in, because I know I understand they're probably going to have a bigger budget next time, but they have so many different ways to go about the second movie. I'm really excited. Yeah.
So they can pinch my ideas. We got Ellie Moses here as well now. He's only just come in, but it's a shame. We've got 8-Bit Massacre.
Right, but
it's like, Ellie, you're going to have to follow me on Twitter. That's the only way you're going to know. Reptilian Reflections. Does Reptile make an appearance? Don't mind spoilers. He does. And he's mentioned by name, so we know it's him. He does have a go. But if you're going to watch it, I'll leave it to you, unless you want to be spoiled.
All the spoilers.
Even Ellie says improved fight choreography in the second film, and I didn't think the fatalities was a huge in number. I don't think they wanted to just, make the whole film fatality, 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 fatality. Otherwise, everyone's going to get killed off. Even though we think there was too many characters, you can't have too many fatalities. But yeah, they could have extended the build up to the fatalities just a little bit longer for some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the Jax one. You know, he just seemed to just do it out of nowhere instead of just look at. They could have had him look at Reiko for a bit. You know, puff up his chest, heavy breathing, and then go for it. They could have done that.
I wonder, like, is it there? Like, I have so much issues with editors in everything. The last suit as well.
Yeah.
I wonder, was the editor like, no, I'm just gonna take that out. It could be there. Like, they literally could have done all this, but it's so choppy in places.
Yeah, it's a shame. But again, they could do a Todd cut and put bits that were taken out, put them back in for an extended version, the ultimate version. You never know.
I hope so.
I don't want them in special features.
No.
I hate that when films get come out and it's like, well, why did they take that out for? You know, little things that could have explained things a little bit more, and they stick them in special features instead of just inserting them back into the film.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, never mind. There we go.
Overall, it was a great movie, and I had a fantastic time.
Overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There's loads of faults, as with every film.
Exactly, yeah.
But again, I'm hoping that doing this stream can kind of flesh things out more within the film itself, in terms of the Cole character being already down on himself, not caring, not having a goal, but then being thrust into this world where he's in a constant state of shock.
Mm-hmm.
And then with your gripe with Raiden, you know, he's a dejected god. He's not being helped by the elder gods. It feels like that, you know, Earth's on its last legs, and he's got no one to work with. So he's just like, whatever. He's like, whatever. Who cares? And then you see him perk up at the very end, where he goes, I'm impressed.
No, I'm excited to see where it goes for the MKU. I'm calling it the MKU now.
Well, that's what Louis Tan has coined it.
Oh, deadly.
He coined it, yeah. He way before the release, he put in the hashtag MKU, as in MK Universe. I think that's all he did in one tweet. He just put hashtag MKU.
Awesome.
So yeah, he's already got that ball rolling. So again, if we want to see this universe thrive, they can iron out some of the things, the concerns when it comes to character development and things like that. We're going to have to be positive about it. So I'm talking to everybody. Everyone's going to be positive. Be constructive if you have gripes or criticisms. Don't just F-bomb and say, crap, it was shit, and, you know, you didn't have to do it. People don't know what they're talking about, you know, the writers. You need to be constructive. We want this universe to thrive. We want it to grow. So that's my best advice. So now destiny is in your hands. Destiny's in your hands.
But if like everyone's been so great in the fandom, and they were so welcoming to me and my little noob normie brain, like
you do structure your videos better than I ever could dream of.
I
just go with the flow. I just go with the flow, and I play off other people. And I can't do videos. I can't do them because I know there's a certain way of doing them, and I just haven't got the patience. I just haven't got it. I'd rather just sit and talk because it's as real as you can get it. And if I mess up, you know, I mess up. If I stutter, I stutter. It's just me being me. You know, I can't reset it. I can't
it's authentic.
Or redo it.
Yeah, exactly. But you're being your authentic self, which we don't have a lot of on YouTube anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll do my best, as I say. I'll do my best.
Of course.
Anyway, right. So I'm going to let everyone shoot off now because it's been nearly 2 hours, and I'm grateful for everyone coming in. I'm grateful for Vassy coming on, you know, so I could play off what she thinks, what her concerns. Hopefully I've given you enough info.
Yes, you know. Thank you so much. This is a great conversation. Thank you for letting me on.
That's all right. So when it comes to doing my streams on Tuesdays, it's just they're probably going to die down in terms of what to talk about. So it'll probably just degenerate into people coming on and then wanting to talk about whatever they want.
Cool.
Because I don't want to keep talking about Mortal Kombat because there's only so much you can talk about. But it'd be up to anyone who wants to come out. If they have something they want to talk about, they can talk about it. In terms of movies and more, I'll still do Mortal Kombat if they want. Yeah. But it's just that there's only so much I can put into Mortal Kombat. Exactly. I do have a lot more, but I feel like it just gets a bit stale. But if people want me to carry on doing Mortal Kombat, I will do it. It just depends on the feedback.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'll have to wait for that. So there we go. Thanks for everybody that's come on and put up with me. Vassy, everyone puts up with Vassy.
Yeah.
She's in high demand. Everyone wants her on their stream.
Jeez, I wish. I was so nervous coming on streams. The first stream I did, I was actually getting really bad anxiety, and I'm not as bad now. I'm getting there, but it's like, oh my god, I can't. It's a bit scary.
Well, you didn't come off that way, so
that's fine.
So there you go. It's a
fear.
It's like, just don't swear.
Yes.
Things are I'm kind of like letting myself go when it comes to swearing now, because I do put when I'm setting up these streams, I do put not for kids every time. So if I do slip up, or there's a moment where it does, I want to swear, just for the purpose of what I'm talking about, not swear, just in mid sentence for no reason, then I've covered my base.
Yeah, exactly. Always cover your base.
Cover my bases.
Yeah.
So lovely. So there we go. I'm going to let everyone shoot off. So it's been another good stream. I've enjoyed it. I hope Vassy's enjoyed it. I hope everyone here's enjoyed it. I haven't shown my face today. It's a shame. But shall I do that now? Just so everyone could see. See, I'm still the same person. I've still got my real hair. Yes, it's all real. I thought the last few seconds I'll just show my ugly mug. So thanks everyone for coming on. Hope it's been informative, constructive, in a good way, and share it around if you want others to get the idea of how the movie could have been improved. Do what you want to do with it. Chop it up, cut it up. You can do with it as you will. So just as long as you send some shekels my way.
All the shekels.
I'll have them brass buttons. Lovely. Right. Well, thank you everyone.
Thank you.
And Vassy and everyone else that's commented. I will hopefully have some good feedback. For me to carry on talking about Mortal Kombat, because I don't mind talking about Mortal Kombat as long as people want to talk about it. And it's funny because Lou's life has just come in, and he's just gonna have to rewatch the whole thing. But I will have another stream. It'd be nice to have other people on again, like it was this time and the one before. It was really good having Future Boy on and Lou's.
That was a great stream. The three of you are deadly.
We really enjoyed it. Yeah. Even the after talk after, we really enjoyed it. So yeah, it was good. So let's have some more. Let's have some positivity going towards the new Mortal Kombat movie franchise, please, everybody. Let's all be positive, constructive. If you didn't like it, channel it and just articulate what you didn't like, and then people will respond in kind. So there we go. Lovely. Right, I've said everything. Right. Do you want to plug yourself, by the way?
I'm Vassy, and I do reviews of random movies.
No, you've got a YouTube channel. You do your thing, so yeah, plug yourself.
I review fun movies I like. I don't like crapping on films, so it's mostly positive reviews of the stuff I like. I'm on Twitter. If you want to read my nonsensical tweets, it's It's at Miss_Vassy, and you'll find my YouTube there, because there's a singer with the same name as me that I wasn't aware of. So when people look for me, they find her. So go look at my Twitter.
You need to put it in your Twitter bio, so you need to plug your Twitter as well.
Oh, it's all there. So
it's all there. Well, there you go then. She's
all
done.
there.
She's plugged. that just
prepared.
It's not for kids. Okay, it's not for kids. So there we go. Lovely. Thanks for coming on again. I know I'm going to keep saying it. Do you know what? I still don't know how to end these streams. I still don't know how to do it. So
you have your outro.
I don't have because I don't have an intro or an outro. I have an outro. You know, I have my saying, and then I'll say, "Well, yeah, thanks for coming." Now, so okay, then right, everyone's gonna shoot off. So thanks for coming. Feedback is welcomed, and I will see you on the next stream next Tuesday or anyone else's stream. I'm open. I'm open to going on anyone else's stream, and your view is mine. See you later. Thank you, everybody. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.